you have your phone stuff and you have your tablet stuff. And maybe the sell for some people is, I don't really want to pack my tablet and my phone. I'm going to pack together my one foldable phone.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Here's the Scoop from NBC News. I'm Yasmin Vasugiu. So today on the show, we are talking about foldable phones. They are in fact back, not the flip phones that we knew from 20 plus years ago, but foldable phones. The problem is they are so expensive. So should you be waiting online for them? Are they actually worth the price tag? Plus, we heard closing arguments today in the Lindsay Clancy trial. It has been all over your social media feeds, this trial that's been going on for 5 weeks or so. The defense is arguing that Lindsay was suffering from postpartum psychosis and she was compelled by a voice inside of her head to kill her 3 young children. She has already admitted to killing her kids. The prosecution is arguing this was premeditated and it was deliberate. Jurors are now inside that deliberation room, so we're going to talk about that as well. Up first, though, so massive flash floods and mudslides in the Himalayan mountains have devastated Nepal and China's Tibet region. Hundreds have already been confirmed dead and more than 1,000 people are missing, including, by one estimate, roughly 65 Americans. Now, rescuers are working to reach areas where roads and bridges have been completely wiped out, and hopefully dig out even more survivors. So for this, I want to bring in NBC News correspondent Janis Mackey Frayer, who is on the ground for us in Nepal. Hi, Janis.
Hey, Yasmin.
I know you haven't been there for very long. You're currently in Kathmandu. We have been seeing some devastating videos of these. I mean, honestly, it looks like it's out of a movie. Yeah, these huge walls of water, waves hitting, destroying cars, cities, towns, people running for their lives. What are you seeing? What are you hearing about the scale of this damage so far?
Well, it's hard to describe how devastating this was. You know, this wall of water, it was ice and rock and mud and debris. And it's the speed at which it hit. Nobody had any time to prepare. And then just the scale of the devastation in terms of how quickly it moved through this narrow valley. And on both sides of the border, you know, on the Nepal side and on the China side in Tibet. And the thing with mud is that it's particularly horrible for rescuers to try to do their work because everything is literally stuck, including people. So when you see the videos of people literally running and then this wave just moving over vehicles, buildings, people, everything, and then everything becomes encased in this mud. And this is what rescuers are having to deal with.
And then also the remote, the fact that it's just such a remote area. I can't imagine that is also adding to the difficulty in rescuing people that are potentially still alive but trapped.
Well, and no way to get in touch with people because there's no phone lines. There is no electricity, no clean water. The hydropower capacity for Nepal has been reduced by 12%. So this is all, you know, electrical grid power that's not going to easily come back online. So in addition to all of the, you know, physical challenges that these search and rescue teams are facing, it's not having some very, very basic things to be able to do the rescue work. People are going in with satellite phones and other means of communication because there's just no guarantee that you're going to be able to let people know that you're okay.
How far is it from where you are? Like how remote is it?
It's from Kathmandu. It's, I would say, roughly 80 miles. But again, a couple of inches on the map in Nepal can take you, you know, 8 or 10 hours to in order to travel. This is a spectacular country. It's obvious why it's so popular with people for trekking and for adventuring. This is an international route for trekkers, for pilgrims going to Mount Kailash. The border crossing on the Chinese side is a very busy border crossing for the exchange of goods. So that's why we're seeing so many foreigners who have been caught up in this.
Researchers are saying that the flooding may have been caused by an ice rock avalanche from a glacier. What does that mean? And what more are we learning as to why it was so big and it happened so fast and there was no warning?
According to the U.S. Geological Survey, part of a glacier in the Himalayas collapsed. It could be as big as half a mile wide, a massive, massive chunk of ice. And by collapsing, it hit the river valley floor with such power that it generated its own seismic energy and confused people thinking that it was an earthquake. That's how powerful it was. And it was like an earthquake because it triggered the avalanche. The rock and the ice came tumbling down. Again, these are narrow river valleys, and swept into the river with such force that it created this massive wall of water and debris and rock and everything that just careened in two directions. And I think naturally when we hear that a massive chunk of glacier has, fallen from the Himalayas down into the river valley, we naturally think, oh, this must be climate change. And there are scientists who will say that, the warming of the glaciers it would certainly set the stage for something like this. Officials in Nepal who, deal with natural disasters on not a regular basis, but they certainly have dealt with disasters of great magnitude in the past. And even they're saying that this is the worst that they can remember in recent memory.
Janis Mackey Frayer, thank you.
Thanks, Yasmin.
So closing arguments wrapped today in the murder trial of Lindsay Clancy, the Massachusetts mom being charged with first-degree murder for killing her 3 young kids, Cora, Dawson, and Callan, in their home in January of 2023 before attempting suicide. Now, while Clancy has admitted to killing her kids, her defense team has argued that she should not be held criminally responsible because she was experiencing postpartum psychosis.
This young lady is not guilty of the killing of her children because she was suffering from a disease and defect, as His Honor instructed you. And they're not going to be able to prove otherwise. And it's their burden, not ours.
And that is a big part of the reason that this nearly 5-week trial has dominated social media feeds and put maternal mental health at the forefront of conversations, including on this podcast. Prosecutor Jennifer Sprague, meanwhile, says this was a calculated, premeditated murder.
It was a horrible choice. And it's a choice that we don't want to think about that a mother could make because that doesn't make us feel safe or comfortable in this world. But it's a choice she made.
So as the jury heads to deliberations, I want to bring in NBC News legal analyst, Misty Marris. Hi, Misty.
Hi.
Okay. So I mentioned this as I came to you. Lindsay Clancy has admitted to killing her 3 young children. But this trial really comes down to why she did it. The prosecution is trying to show that this was intentional and it was premeditated. How did they do that? And did they do an effective job?
It was interesting because today in closings, prosecutors walked back a bit of the narrative that they laid out at the very beginning of the case. So prosecutors did provide a motive in the very beginning of the case, which they don't have to do, but they chose to. And it was that Lindsay Clancy, she's going to look like she's a doting mother and a dedicated nurse, but behind the scenes, she's controlling, She's manipulative. She decided she no longer liked the life she thought she wanted. And so she made the calculated decision to kill herself and kill her children. Premeditated murder. Because a lot of the witnesses who took the stand for the prosecution, family members, her ex-husband, her ex-father-in-law, they all said that by every indication, she was a great mother. And they all acknowledged that she was struggling.
Prosecution's witnesses as well.
Correct. And they kind of came off as almost character witnesses for the defense.
Yeah.
And so in the closing, I wasn't surprised to see that the prosecutors pivoted it a bit when it comes down to saying the why. Why did she do this? Because I think the jury wants to understand
And how did they
that.
pivot?
They said that she was struggling. She had significant mental health issues. Those struggles became too much for her. And she decided that she was going to take her own life. But the thing that was standing in her way was that her children would not have a mother. So she made the decision to kill them. So it is a distinction, and I think the jury's going to pick up on it because, yes.
So I was going to say that. You think the jury picks up on that distinction?
I do.
Does that not bode well for the prosecution?
I don't think that was helpful for the prosecution, but they did reel it in, and I think they made some very compelling points today by focusing on the day of the killings. The level of decision-making that Lindsay Clancy would have to make consciously during a very, very small window of time to kill all 3 children and then attempt to take her own life. And there's no indication that day she's doing everything she would normally do, that she's in a state of psychosis. And they laid out a little bit more of a detailed timeline. And to establish premeditation, the prosecution says that on the day of the killings, it was 4 p.m. when the planning of how to actually go through with what she had decided she was going to do, kill the kids and kill herself. It was at 4 p.m. that the planning began, and that's when she starts mapping out how far it is and how long it would take to send her husband out to go to a restaurant and to go to CVS to pick up a medication, calling the CVS ahead of time to make sure that they have the medication so nothing gets in the way of her plan. An unexpected phone call from Patrick Clancy. He leaves around 5:15. An unexpected phone call she receives at 5:30, somewhere around 5:30. He calls, she misses the call, she calls him back. And she acts like nothing's wrong,
and
answers the question.
And do we know if the kids had been killed by that point?
So this is the prosecution's theory, is that they had to have been killed by that point because there's no way that from a timing perspective, the killings could have happened after the phone call. It's the experts who said, if she were to be in a state of psychosis, would she be able to have that conversation on the phone? Defense says, yes, she would. Prosecution's experts, surprise, surprise, say, no, she would not, that she would be saying something different.
So let's talk about the defense then. The defense contends she was suffering from postpartum psychosis, that she was compelled by a voice to kill her 3 young children. Did they present enough evidence to back up this claim?
So the idea of psychosis, which is a medical issue, is a little different than the legal standard, but this is really important. The legal standard is that Lindsay Clancy, at the time of the killings, did not know what she was doing was wrong, or she could not control herself. So what the defense focused on is leaning very heavily into their expert testimony about the manifestation of what's called auditory hallucinations, the commanding voice, and her loss of control. And it's going to be battle of the experts, yes, because it's really, you have experts coming to different conclusions, but one thing was actually the same between one of the prosecution's experts and a defense expert, and it's that idea of what's called altruistic filicide, that committing the crime of killing the kids, killing the children, was done from a place where in her mind she believed they'd be better off. She didn't want them to not have a mother. Meanwhile, the distinction, and think about what the jury has to grapple with here, is that the defense says that she did not know what she was doing was morally wrong because she believed it was better for them to all be together.
Right.
Whereas the prosecution says, no, she knew what she was doing was wrong, and you can tell by the other things that she did that day, and the thing and trying to commit suicide after the fact. So those are the competing narratives, and this is why this case is so complex, because it's not a whodunit. It's getting into Lindsay
Yeah, we know
Clancy's
who done it.
mind
Yeah.
and what her state of mind is at that time.
The jurors are now inside this deliberation room. What witnesses, what testimony do you think is resonating with them most? And how are they discussing the potential charges here?
Patrick Clancy's testimony is going to be something the jury will focus on. He's the first witness to testify. He's the victim in the case.
Her ex-husband.
Her ex-husband. And something that is a little different for us as watching on the court feed and not being in the courtroom, there's certain evidence that the jury saw that we did not see as the public, like the autopsy photos. The 911 call, which we know the content of because the content
we
of what was said,
hear his
we
voice.
didn't hear his voice.
Patrick Clancy's voice.
And those are the types of things, they stick. They stick with the jury.
That's emotional.
And then also the expert testimony in this case is more important than anything else. It's difficult because how do you evaluate it? Well, the jury will decide who they deem to be credible. And both sides have provided an explanation. So that's for the jury to evaluate. And with manslaughter, which defense wanted on that verdict sheet, by the way. So you've got premeditated murder. First degree, second degree murder, which is murder without premeditation. Then you have manslaughter, which is reckless disregard for a known risk. And with manslaughter, if they don't buy the psychosis, if they don't buy the auditory hallucination, and they say, well, I don't think this is a first-degree premeditated murder. I don't think she was planning to do this. But I also am not sure that it was a state of psychosis. I think she might have known right from wrong. Well, that manslaughter gives you right in the middle. It's called a compromise verdict. It's possibility.
Misty Marris, I'm sure we're going to be talking to you again once we get this verdict, whenever that hits.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, if you or someone that you know is in crisis, you can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline or chat live at 988lifeline.org. So 2026 is shaping up to be the year of the foldable phone. Both Samsung and Google, they've announced new models with bendable screens, and word on the street is that Apple is getting in on it as well. The screens are bigger, but then again, so is how much they actually cost. All three phones are coming in at about $2,000 a pop. So will consumers, buyers like you, think the screens are worth all of that money? For this, I want to bring in NBC News chief tech analyst, Joanna Stern. Hi, Joanna.
Hi.
So what's going on with all these foldable phones? Why all of a sudden?
Well, it actually isn't all of a sudden, but it's all of a sudden that I think we're going to hear more about them. And that's because of this Apple move. But foldable phones from Android phone makers like Samsung, like Huawei, have been around now for almost 7+ years. I reviewed the first Samsung foldable phone almost 7 years ago. And it was really early with those devices. That first Samsung foldable phone, I actually love to tell that story because the phone was just so not ready for prime time. They actually took it back from press and said, sorry, it's not ready for review and it's not ready for release. And there were issues. There were issues with the screen. There was issue with durability. And so now, flash forward 7 years, and these devices are a lot better. From a technology perspective, they're more mature. The folding screens, you mentioned those bendable screens, they're more durable. The devices themselves can be slimmer and have smaller batteries in them, so they don't need to be as thick. And so there's been a lot of improvements made over these last few years, which is why Apple is now ready to enter, right? Apple has previously never been a first mover in the tech world, really. Think about the iPod. There were tons of MP3 players before the iPod. You think about the iPhone. There were smartphones before then. And so Apple tends to enter a market when it thinks the technology is mature enough, they've done something a little bit unique and can put the Apple spin on it. And so that's why we're hearing more about foldables right now.
Okay, so here's the thing. I mean, these things cost a lot of money, right? When you're looking at an Android phone, it's $330 or so on average. You have iPhones that are going for $800 to $1,200, which is also a lot of money. But these phones are hitting the market at $2,000. Is it worth it? Is it worth $2,000 and what's likely to be really long lines?
I do not think for the mainstream iPhone user, this is going to be the phone they're going to pick, right? But Apple, again, has had a long history of entering the premium market with devices. If you think back to the iPhone 10, the iPhone 10 was one of the first phones priced at $1,000. And people were like, what? I mean, I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a phone. And they had all this cutting edge technology in the iPhone 10, right? It was the first phone to have Face ID. It didn't have the button. It was thinner. And all of that technology made it downstream into phones that were less expensive, but also that price kind of moved, right? We now got to think, oh, $1,000 with some discounts or carrier discounts, trade-ins. It's not so bad. But also we've seen that technology flow down. And I think that's what we'll watch happen over the next number of years.
What do you think the advantage is as someone who has like no like skin in the game, right? Like give me like the real hard advantages to this foldable phone versus my normal smartphone.
You know, I think my kids do the best job of selling or explaining this, because whenever I have one of these phones to review, they call it the tablet phone. So this is the new Samsung phone I'm holding up, and it looks like regular phone, right? And then you open it, right?
Wow.
And you've got double the screen space, right? And so now you've got a real tablet.
Yeah.
So you've got one regular phone. You got like the regular phone stuff here, right? Like you make your phone calls, you do your texts on the go, whatever you want to do in this mode, normal phone things. And then you open up the screen when you want to watch a video. Maybe you want to watch NBC News on here, right? Great experience watching NBC
Or here's the
News on here.
scoop. Here's the scoop podcast on YouTube.
Exactly. Or you know what you can do with this? You can watch Here's the Scoop on the left side of the screen. And on the right side of the screen, you can respond to your email.
Oh, wow. Now we are talking.
And so this basically meaning like you have your phone stuff and you have your tablet stuff. And maybe the sell for some people is, you know, I don't really want to pack my tablet and my phone. I'm going to pack together my one foldable phone.
Have you gotten a look at Apple's phone that I guess is supposed to come out in September?
No one has yet officially outside of Apple gotten a look at Apple's phone. There's been a lot of leaks. There's been a lot of reports about what this thing will look like. This Samsung phone, which came out in August, is called this Galaxy Z Fold 8. And there's been a lot of attention, and I specifically also have reviewed this phone because the dimensions of it are supposed to be similar to what Apple is coming out with. But you know, this one here, look, I'll give you one right here. Look at this. Look how prepared I am for your podcast.
Oh, it's the size of a passport. Look at that.
It is literally the
Yes.
same size as a passport.
So Joanna is currently holding up her passport alongside the foldable phone, the Samsung foldable phone, which are the exact same size. Okay. Which fits in your back pocket, FYI.
Yep.
While folded.
Yep. Yeah, and in fact, actually, I did considerable pocket testing with this phone. So it fit in many of my pockets. But as I say, you need to have deep pockets to get these phones.
Ba-dum-bum. Joanna Stern, thank you.
I'll be back soon with more of these one-liners.
That is going to do it for us at Here's the Scoop from NBC News. I'm Yasmin Vasugian. We'll be back tomorrow with whatever the day may bring. And if you like what you saw and you heard, press the subscribe button. We'll see you tomorrow.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.